Hi guys, welcome back. I am ASMR Citrine, and today I thought I would read you a little bit from a book that I've been working on. So it's not going to be a long video. It's very impromptu. I thought of it this morning. I didn't really have a plan this week. I was on vacation last week, and that was very nice. So I'll do a video about that soon. Went north to Michigan and Wisconsin and things like that. So we road tripped it. And while on this road trip, while in Traverse City, Michigan, which I think is where I want to move now. It's a very pretty city, and I love Michigan. We stopped at a bookstore, and one of the ones I picked up is this book right here. So this is the book World of Wonders by Amy, and I still am not sure about that last name. Nezukumatatil, possibly. Yeah, there she is on the back. So, and she also has her own, of course, dedication in the book, as well as the artist for this book, which was Fumi Mini Nakamura. I know some Japanese, and that is a Japanese name. So this is the gal who did all of the art for this book, which is, as you can see from the cover, absolutely gorgeous. So I started reading this on the road trip, whenever I wasn't driving, of course, or at the hotel. I'm going to sneeze, hang on. We're back. Good. So I've made about 40 some pages in, and this book is quite nice. It gives you a different perspective, I guess, on the things in life. Like loud car. Basically, she's telling her life or her life experiences through that of the natural world. It's kind of a thank you, like it says, in praise of. It's kind of a thank you to some of these plants and animals, as well as like comparing their situations to her own situation. Maybe in hindsight, maybe at that time. But I've read through a lot of it, a lot about her younger childhood. I think she has it organized to be about, like, in like kind of a few sections, like childhood, teenage years, adult, young adult, adult life, things like that. But I think that's what I'm getting off of this, but I might be wrong. But we have reached a chapter here that I thought I'd share about the, as we call it in English, the axolotl. But as it says in the book, and what I've heard plenty of times before, it's in Nahuatl, which is one of the indigenous languages in what is now Mexico. So in Spanish, it is pronounced ocelot, not axolotl. I'll probably do both because I've been calling it both my whole life. I love them, and that was actually one of the things I was drawn to on the cover. I was seeing this little guy. And yeah, it's an artist rendition. It's not fully accurate. They're all a little more vibrant or a little different looking than and normal, but for the most part, they're pretty accurate. But the art in this book is fantastic. I'm so sorry. I've done that so many times this week and last week. I don't know what's up with me because I never do that. I hope you don't hear that. But like, this is like the inside cover of this book. I have the receipt tucked in there still. So this is inside of like a review page. I'm trying to get it accurate. Like, look at that. And that's the barrel eye fish. I'm not a fan of them. They're pretty big freaks. But yeah, just a really pretty art. Like, the little ocelot is so cute. Touch Me Nots. And I think before, I'm gonna have to change that. Narwhal. And like, this is like the page separator. So maybe if I finish this passage early, maybe I'll show you some pictures, but maybe not. But like, there's whale sharks, the potu, the receipt fell out. Looks like a parakeet or lorikeet. I don't remember. Some other birds up here. So it's really pretty, even just in black and white. But yeah. So let's go read about the ocelot. I love them. I had one for many years. For many, many years I did have my own ocelot. Her name was Kirby. I have a ring with an axolotl on it. I have little figurines. I have stuffed animals. Like, and a lot of it was given to me because it's just an easy thing to do. But I did have one before they got to be super popular. So, I have earrings, little axolotls in Santa hats for Christmas. So maybe you'll see me wearing those as the year goes on here. But alright, so let's read about the ocelot. So, like I said, it's about our personal experience, so it's a bit deeper than just about the animal itself or the plant or whatever. But yeah. If a white girl tries to tell you what your brown skin can and cannot wear for makeup, just remember the smile of an axolotl. The best thing to do in that moment is to just smile and smile, even if your smile is thin. The tighter you smile, the tougher you become. Give them a salamander smile. The ocelot, pronounced ocelot in Nahuatl, not axolotl like I originally thought and first heard, is also known as the Mexican walking fish. But it isn't actually a fish, it's an amphibian. Ocelots are one of the only amphibians that spend their whole life underwater and neotenous. That's a new one for me. And I've done reports on these for school. That's a new word for me. Yeah, neotenous? Neotenish? I don't know. Or without going through a metamorphosis. Ocelots vary in color depending on which of their 3 known chromatophores they inherit. Iridophores, which makes the ocelot skin shimmer with iridescence. Melanophores, shading them a swampy brown, or xanthophores, which turn them a pretty rose gold shade of pink. Most that are called wild type ocelots have a bright ring around their unblinking eyes, like someone took a neon highlighter pen and used it as ocelot eyeliner. I'm gonna sneeze again. Alright. Wild type ocelots have been known to sometimes pop out of their eggs first as the loveliest ghostly shade of gold with pink eyes. only darkening their skin and eyes as they grow older to blend into their murky surroundings. But for my money, the most striking ocelots are leucistic, pale pink with black eyes. That's what I had. This is the type of ocelot most commonly kept as class pets in hundreds of elementary schools, and it's usually leucistic ocelots, with the pale pink color and that unforgettable upward curve of its formidable mouth that you see on stickers and t-shirts and even snuggly stuffed animals. Very true. Yeah, that's... I went for an actual realistic looking one for my tattoo that I have. I actually had the artist do line art from a picture of my ocelot. You remember trying out various shades of Wet n Wild lipstick, including a red color of candy apples in the junior high locker room after gym class. Your mother never let you wear lipstick, and boys had not yet begun to notice you. You only wanted to experiment, to hold a tube of color up to your cheek the way you would hold a sequined dress to your body in front of a mirror. Still, you loved the way the lipstick clacked in your friends' purses like dice, so you decide to try the boldest shade of red. I don't think someone with your skin tone should wear red. You might want to try this instead, said the girl who didn't have any brown friends beside you. The only brown folks she knew were on the Cosby Show. You adored her, though, and you were the new girl yet again. You didn't want her to stop waiting for you at lunchtime, so you smiled, shrugged, and mumbled, "You're probably right." But even from that brief application, you fell in love with and slightly feared that slash of red, a cardinal out of the corner of your eye, lending definition to the outline of your mouth, a mouth that was used to speaking only when called upon, a mouth that stayed shut when you knew the answer because you didn't want anyone to roll their eyes or mutter "teacher's pet," like they had in years prior. Instead, you wiped off the red lipstick with wadded up toilet paper and forced a smile, leaving the locker room with a pale cotton candy colored lipstick that made you look wan and parched instead. An ocelot can help you smile as an adult, even if someone in your tenure committee puts his palms together as if in prayer every time he sees you off campus and does a quick, short bow and calls out, "Namaste," even though you've told him several times already that you actually attend a Methodist church. But it's as if he doesn't hear you, or he does and doesn't care, chuckling to himself as he shuffles across the icy parking lot, hands jammed into his pockets. Wide and thin, the ocelot's smile runs from one end of the amphibian's face to the other, curving at each end ever so gently upward. Perhaps second in distinctiveness only to the ocelot's smile are the external gills or stalks that fan across the back of its head, 3 on each side, like an extravagant crown of fuchsia feathers radiating from its neck. The average ocelot grows to be just over a foot long and dines on all manner of worms, blood, earth, wax. I only fed mine earthworms because that's like the number one recommendation, but we did do bloodworms occasionally. It also fancies insect larvae, crustaceans, and even a small fish if it can find some. That has occurred too when I had fish in there to cycle the tank. I simply let little feeder fish. I left them, and when she was old enough, big enough, they slowly started to disappear, one by one. Scientists have taken to studying ocelots for the regenerative properties of their limbs, very unique in the animal world because ocelots don't seem to ever develop scar tissue to hide damage from a wound. Ocelots can even rebuild a broken jaw. In recent experiments, scientists have crushed their spinal cords, and even that regenerates. Scientific American reports that you can cut the oxalotl's limb off at any point, wrist, elbow, upper arm, and it will make another. One can cut off various parts of arms and legs 100 times, and every time the smile and a bloom of arm spring forth like a new perennial. Just when one thinks nothing can grow back after such a winter, the tiny pale shoots of a crocus burst through the sloppy mulch-thin ground after a difficult and heavy sugar snow. An impossible wound begs to differ with its body and says, "I've got another, and another." These tests involve the repeated amputation of limbs over 100 times. What does the lab technician say after the 95th day, perhaps, of this kind of work? Just 5 more to go and we'll close up the report? How does the person come home and forget these hundreds of estranged arms and legs? It's hard to remember ocelots are endangered when you see their bodies regenerate parts so quickly. When they smile at you in aquariums, their pink gills waving as they study you and your own fixed mouth. Particularly devastating about these amphibians is the fact that the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources have determined that there are almost no more oxalotls in the wild and have labeled them as critically endangered. Wild ocelots used to swim in abundance in 2 particular lakes in Mexico. One of the lakes was drained as a result of the growth of human population, growth in Mexico City, and the other is recently overrun with carp, which gobble up oxalotl eggs like M&Ms. Ocelots are now found in aquariums and fish supply stores to be sold as pets. In spite of the ocelot's seemingly serene visage that often tricks people into thinking of cuteness and perhaps a gentle restraint, ocelots are pretty enthusiastic, sometimes even cannibalistic, in their eating habits. But nature has a way of giving us a heads up to stand back and admire them at a distance or behind glass. And ocelot's forelegs don't just end with sweet millennial pink stars. They are claws designed to help the ocelot eat meat. And when it eats, what a wild mess. When it gathers a tangle of bloodworms in its mouth, you will understand how a galaxy first learns to spin in the dark and how it begins to grow and grow. She's also a poet, if you can't tell, just in case you didn't know. So yeah, I just thought I'd share that with you. It's funny because they're not even my favorite animal. My favorite animal is the bat. Like back there. I have one in my car, I have them in my house, just is what it is. Year round, it's bat time. But I do have such a soft spot for these amphibians. They're just so interesting. And actually, this book came out a few years ago, I think in 2020. Actually, a very, very recent report, last week. The populations in the wild are actually rebounding. Scientists went to study this pool and they were like, surely there's nothing here. And they found a very large population of ocelot. So, very exciting news. I will get another one day. I've just been very busy right now. And they do take some care. They're pretty easy once you get everything set up and you can just leave it be, but unfortunately, it's not always easy. You do have to put in work. It's still a pet. It's just one that every guest who ever comes to your house will want to see. So, you've been warned. And I do not recommend them as a first-time aquarium haver. Start with other fish. Even goldfish can live to be decades old. So, and an ocelot can live to be 15 years old. So, I would get some experience with aquariums first before you jump into having an ocelot. So, I can do more about that in the future, though, if you'd like to know more. But I think that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed. If you want, I can post some pictures of mine and my tattoo and stuff on Instagram. So keep an eye out for that. My Instagram is in the description. It's not linked. You have to be a monetized channel to be able to link that, and I'm not yet a monetized channel. I'm actually very close to 200 subscribers. So I've been sitting at 199 for a week now. So once I hit 200, perhaps I I have a little bit of a plan. I might do like postcards or something. Like if you guys are interested, I'll set up an email. You can send me your address and I'll send you a postcard. Then I'll delete that email after like X amount of time. But maybe I'll wait until I reach that 500 point, which is when you can get monetization. I don't know. But yeah. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you next time.